Yo, what's up everybody? How you doing? It's your Coach Renz, and I want to thank you for joining me on this discussion of the alchemical mindset about demons, daemons, and voodoo zombies. That's right, that's what we're talking about today. And so first, let me thank everybody for joining me, for subscribing to the YouTube channel, for hitting that bell icon so that you get notifications, and for supporting the channel on Patreon. You know, the YouTube ad algorithm doesn't work for crap anymore, especially on my style of videos. So I want to give a special big up thanks to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon, because that just allows me to do even more, and I'll be getting some more technology soon, so it's going to be able to allow me to do a lot more. So, and that is greatly due to the people who support through Patreon. So thank you, and for supporting me through my company, Uncle Ren's Popcorn. That's the letter U, the letter R, the word popcorn.com. 26 flavors of the best gourmet popcorn you ever had in your life. So let's talk about the devil, the demons. Devils and demons, zombies. If you look at it from today's point of view, then you just have one mindset. You have this orthodox mindset that has been controlled by media, controlled by, dare I say, oppressed white supremacy, by the Christian church, as well as any of the other Abrahamic religions. But when you really take a study and look at the history of demons, you come to find out that demons aren't what you think they are. That they have, just like languages, just like culture, just like laws and governments, and just like religion, they have evolved from something completely different from what they began as. Think about the original 13 colonies. They started out as 13 independent, separate colonies, and then they evolved into a United States, and then they evolved even more so. Had a civil war, conquest of the West, and now it is what it is today. But you know, of course, this history because you studied it. You studied it when you was in school. You know the history of how governments changed, from monarchies to democracies, from communism to a socialism. You've seen these. You've probably seen some of this in your lifetime, depending upon how old you are. So you've seen these. These are things you know. They change. But did you know that the idea of a demon changed? That when you go back and you begin to look at apocalyptic literature, when you go back and look at books like the book of Daniel, you look at the book of Enoch, you begin to realize that demons haven't always been evil spirits that come to harm you in your dreams or possess you or things of this nature. When you look at voodoo, you come to realize that this is where we get zombies from. That zombies haven't been these rise of the living dead that now wants to eat your brains. This is not. That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood and white supremacy and being pissed off at the Haitian Revolution of 1804. But we'll dive a little deep. So, Coach Renz, where did this come from? Why do we have this perception then, if that's not how they've always been? And where did this perception come from? Well, I can't give you everything, because one, I want you to go study for yourself. Two, it would take hours upon hours to do so. So let's get a summary of the entire thing. Well, looking at it first from a Western culture, from the Western culture of the rise of the Abrahamic religion, you have the idea of daemons or daimons. See, not diamond, but daimon. Daimons. Daimons and daemons are in the ancient Greek, in the ancient Hebraic. In ancient Hebraic, they were called watchers or fallen angels or just angels. It is even said by Philo of Alexander that Moses called angels what the Greeks call daimons, right? A daimon was a spirit being that existed between man and God. That daimons were spirit beings that ran messages and did the work of God to man. So in the Greek, beings like Cupid was a daimon. And this daimon had magic spells that people called upon Cupid to gain the heart of a mate. In the Egyptians, They cast spells that called upon your inner daimon for you to get control over your inner daimon. This is also where we have from the Islamic tradition, the good angel on your right shoulder, the bad angel or devil on your left shoulder, and you decide which you're going to listen to. Neither one controls you, but they're your inner good and bad that's you're listening to. But both, when converted to the converted to the Greek, were daimons. Now, the Hebrew really didn't have a word for daimon. They had the word of watchers, fallen angels, angels. Now, the watchers and fallen angels later on became one, and that became the devil and his imps, or the devil and his demons. But the angels were given separate, and many Hellenistic Jewish scholars, some made it a very distinct point not to convert angels into daimons, but to only convert Lucifer, Satan, any other demonic beings, the fallen angels, the watchers, anyone that wasn't still cool with Jehovah or Yahweh, into daimons. But that was during the Hellenistic tradition. Before the Hellenistic tradition, the ancient Hebrew, had it as separate beings in between man and God: watchers, angels, fallen angels. The Greeks had, and this is, when you say Greek and Hellenistic, this is the same thing. Hellenistic means just the influence of the Greeks into a culture. So they were Hellenized, or Hellenistic Jews, or Hellenistic Egyptians, or Hellenistic Romans. So the Greeks, the Hellenistic idea of daimons were just these spirit beings that existed in between. And they can be good or bad. There were spells for daimons to freeze a river over for you real quick. And don't think that this didn't exist beyond the coming of the coming of Christianity. Because even after the coming of Christianity, you had, especially in the more upper class, people created medallions that had spells on them, asking for daimons to protect them. These were Christian amulets, asking for them to protect them. So this idea didn't just flip, oh, here's Christianity, everything is now either an angel or a demon. No, everything wasn't angels and demons. Everything was still a homogeneity of ideas. So Christians, early Christians up into the 1000s and beyond, and actually beyond that, actually up into the 1600s, still had the idea that you can call upon these daimons or daemons to come and help you. As a matter of fact, when you look up the word daemon, you will see that it also means genius. It means a greater idea. And when you look up the hierarchy of angels, you will see that daemons came in just below archangels. So there's like, I think 12 or 14 categories of angels. But daemons, D-E-A-M-O-N, came somewhere under the archangels. So they were a spirit being, not necessarily evil. They had their work to do. So this tradition, this change, when did it happen? Why did it happen so much? Well, in the 1600s, many people don't realize that the same King James who authorized the King James Bible also wrote the King James book of demonology. Right? He wrote the demonology book as a spell book of how to control and summon and exorcise demons. So it wasn't all demons are evil. It was how to control them, or how to exorcise them, or how to call upon them for assistance. We see this still going on during the latter 1900s of people still utilizing this. Now, because the church, the Catholic Church, let me be specific, the Catholic Church despised King James, of course, whatever he did was despised and had to be shut down. So the church switched and started making all demons evil. Now, this was a call back to the non-Hellenistic Jewish, and some of the early Hellenistic Jews started moving towards a just good and evil, devils and demons sort of, angels and demons sort of motif. So it was a call back to something that was before for the Jews, and the Catholic Church went and grabbed a hold of that and started saying that it's either an angel, that the spirits in between are angels, the spirits that have fallen are all devils and demons, that those are not in between man and God anymore. They're just devils and demons, and they exist in hell, and hell is on earth, and so they can torment people on earth. And so the Christian church, now all demons were now demons. And so that changed because of King James. And then you also had people coming out, and they were doing the soothsaying and connecting you with your ancestors and saying that their spirit is still here. Because you have to remember, the Catholic Church at the time frame was still, remember, the Protestant Reformation started in the 1500s, so it's not a huge movement of Protestants out there. So most people were still Catholic in the European theater, and they were still teaching that they were still in the mode that there were levels of heaven and levels of hell. There's limbo, there's purgatory, there's all these other places of spirit beings dwelling. And so they still had this mindset. When people had sickness and illness, they thought that it was an evil spirit. See, when smallpox hit Europe, when the Black Plague hit Europe, it was an omen from God, and it was a demon that was causing diseases. And there's ancient manuscripts that show that people believe that disease and death, the disease and plagues and things of that nature, that whole crops going bad, were because they were possessed by a demon or possessed by a daemon, or some kind of in-between spirit is bringing this sickness. And as a matter of fact, when Jewish scholars started converting the Greek, when scholars started converting the Greek into converting the Hebrew into the Greek, and back and forth, that they quantified, I should say, the illness as evil spirits, evil daimons. So all things that were bad started becoming prevalent, started leaning towards daimon. Never angels, but daimons. And it was sickness. It was a baby that dying at childbirth. It was losing a battle. It was losing crops. It was all kind of these things. It didn't rain. We went through a drought. It was a daimon that did it. We had a sickness. It was a daimon that came into your house and did it. So we got to exercise this daimon. Now, of course, as cultures grew and changed, these ideas grew and changed as well. So we get into our time frame, and what do we have? We also had, after the 1804 revolution, Haitian Revolution, the European world did not like the fact that slaves revolted. And one of the big keys in their revolt was them to go back to their go back to their African religions, which we call voodoo or voodin. They went back to their religion. They called upon their ancestors to help them overcome and get their freedom and free Haiti. And they won. So after the 1804 revolution in Haiti, Haiti must be punished. This insurrection can't go on because it may inspire other slaves in the Americas to revolt, Americas and the Caribbean to revolt. So we must demonize this idea. So in major picture, in movies and in literature, the voodoo, the zombies, which is the word used for calling upon your ancestors, they were called zombies, was converted into these return of the dead walkers who would want to eat your brain or kill you and all these sorts of things. And they always were attacking the white people. So the zombies were converted into these people, and they were always black. They were always Haitian for the most part. They would go and get Africans and Haitians to play these roles once moving pictures began, to change the narrative so that people would believe that the voodoo invokes the return of the living dead. But this was all political, And this was all oppressive, and this was all racially biased. So the truth is, zombies are your African ancestors who have passed on, that many people today call upon. When people, or those who don't call upon, recognize, I am able to do this because of my ancestors, that I lean on my ancestors. So that narrative changed because of control. All about control. The narrative of daimons into demons changed because of control. It's all about control. So how does that work for us? Well, can we prove through our ancestors, they believed in connecting with their ancestors, they believed that their dead ancestors were a benefit to them. Can we prove that there are beings that exist in between us and the Creator? Prove it? No. We've had many of the little things, the not Ghostbusters, but the ghost hunters, and they saw an apparition, there's some lighting effect that goes on, or some medium who is connecting. But as far as legit proof, no. What we do have in the kybalion and the emerald tablets is the knowledge of correspondence, the law of correspondence, that as above, so below, as within, so without. That whatever we believe is actually what we get in life. And the biggest picture of that is that there are many levels of existence, that we do not just exist here, that there is the human mind, there's the animal mind, there's the plant mind, there's the mineral mind, there's the reality of, there are different perspectives of reality. There is the spiritual reality, there is the matter reality, and there is the mineral reality, or the atomic reality. So we do understand that reality and dimensions, they exist. We can see that just here on this planet, of the different conscious states of beings that are alive. So it would stand to reason that there are other conscious states above ours. And is there only one? In some religions, there are really two conscious states above ours. There is the conscious state of man elevating into the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. And then, of course, there is the conscious state of God. Even though many don't really realize it and may fight against it, they will never be in the full consciousness of God, never be in a full God level conscious state, because if you are, then you will exist outside of the will, the power, the consciousness of God, if you are equal to God in consciousness, or equal to the Creator in consciousness. So there must be a level of consciousness that the Creator exists on, and then in your idea of just from earth to heaven, then there is a heaven consciousness. So there are at least minimal 2 states of consciousness beyond where we are right now. Now, many people like myself think that there are many more levels of consciousness in between, just as on the polarity scale, if there is the consciousness of God and there's the consciousness of just brute natural force, and if man is here, then there are thousands of levels of consciousness before you get to the conscious state of infinity, which you will never get to the conscious state of the Creator, because it would defy the idea of there being a Creator if you can be in the same level consciousness of the Creator, which means that you are equal to the Creator. So no, that will not do. So do our ancestors exist on some other level of consciousness? I would say they do. Are all ancestors existing on a higher level of consciousness? I would say they don't. Am I suggesting reincarnation into plants and animals and dogs and minerals and atoms and things of that nature? Possibly, but definitively, I will say no. The reason why I say that is because the mental state of man is likened unto the Creator, meaning that you create whatever it is. You create your universe. You create whatever your thoughts are. Your dominant thoughts is what you create. So it is my perspective that at the moment of your consciousness leaving this existence, whatever you believe your consciousness to be going to is what it will receive. And this is not the one that you say all the time. This is your true belief, because many who claim that they are going to heaven really don't believe that they are going, nor do they believe that they deserve to go. Many think they're going to a hell, and they may exist in a hell state. There are those who say that I've been here before and I'm coming back. I honestly believe those people will probably come back in some form or fashion. I mean, we still, and I'll do a whole nother video on this, we really don't know how a new soul is formed or where souls come from. Where does the spirit come from? Where does it exist prior to? And I'm going to throw you off when we talk about that one, because many of the dominant thought ideas just don't work. Okay, so are there levels? Do we connect with our ancestors? Well, we do. The Akashic record shows us that everything in our DNA, just in our DNA alone, the biological record and the Akashic record shows that in our DNA, we have all the DNA of every one of our ancestors. That it took all of your ancestors to make you. That you would not exist if some far long time ago, your great grandmama and your great granddaddy, if they hadn't gotten together, you would not exist. So all that DNA traveled to you. So we are connected through our DNA. All that mental state traveled to create you. So we are connected through our ancestors, through our mental state. Now also we connect to the universe somehow, some way, through the gut, through energy, through thought, through everything that is within our being. We connect to the universe. I often talk about your power chakra, that gut brain. That gut brain is just connected to the universe. Like your gut tells you what to do, but oftentimes we reason our way out of it, or we emotionalize our way out of it, and we don't follow the gut brain. And then we go back, hindsight being 2020, and say, I should have followed my gut. And if you had, things might have worked out better. Our gut brain connects us to the universe, but we don't listen all the time. So I know that we are connected through the universe, and I know that even through our emotions, we're connected through the universe. We just misinterpret often. Our brain, we're connected. Our third eye, we connect to the universe, but we oftentimes misunderstand it because we overwhelm it with what our two eyes see and ignore what our single eye see. So we are connected to eternity. We are connected to other dimensional planes. We just don't fully access it properly to be able to use it. When we do, we are greatness. So are there beings, ancestors that are existing on higher and lower conscious planes? Yes. The law of correspondence says that the higher affects the lower, and the lower can affect the higher. So are there ways to be affected by the higher and lower? Yes. Do they come in and possess you? No. That is your, as the Egyptians taught, your inner daimon that is possessing you. That's your inner demon. Or as some in the Christian circle may say, that's your Holy Spirit that is directing you. Many people will only think the Holy Spirit as a good thing. And based on the Nicene Creed, they must think that the Holy Spirit is a good thing. For all Nicene Christians, that's the creed. That's the way it is. But then those same will say, my good angel and my bad angel. This is the duality of our culture. This is how we exist in duality, but won't actually realize it nor accept that it's a duality. But we do exist in that format. It's just a reality. I am not one to push one or the other. I'm just saying what it is, and that's just what it is. So, but your Holy Spirit can be equalized, can be equal to the idea of the jinn on your left and your right shoulder, as far as the Islamic tradition is concerned, as well as the ancient Egyptian tradition of the daimon and the Hellenistic idea of the daimon being existing inside of you, and they are good and they are bad either way, but it all is under your control. You are the master over it. Just as you are the master of every force outside you as well. You are not affected by the universe, but you affect the universe. You affect everything around you. No matter what you follow, the Christian, if you think about the Christian story, the Jewish story of Job, the adversary, the Satan, could not affect Job without God's permission. So they can't affect you without God's permission. So that effect from the higher can't affect you without your permission. Since you are made in the likeness of God, they can't affect you without your permission. You have to allow it. And many people say, well, why would I allow it? How can I allow it? I would never allow any negative thing to happen to me. If I have the power to disallow any negative thing to happen to me, then I certainly wouldn't. So of course these things have power over me, or they have the power. But yet you say that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And yet we will say that we are the controllers of our universe. We will say that we are the diviners of our spirit, of our universe. We will cast lots. We will have sacrifices. We will do all these things. We will pray towards Mecca. We will do all these things showing that we have power. But yet, when something negative happens, we want to blame it on somebody else. We want to blame it on an outside force. The true measure of it is this. It affects you because you had doubt. It affects you because you do not understand how to control, or nor do you have mastery over your emotions and your thoughts. The moment you gain mastery over your emotions and mastery over your thoughts, then nothing outside of you will hurt you, can hurt you. The moment you start gaining this mastery, you start understanding the laws of the universe. And one of those laws of the universe is cause and effect. There is no miracle, nor luck, nor chance. There is only cause and effect. If you're saying the causation is a demon as to why you had a wreck, no. The causation is that you were not paying attention. The causation is that somebody else was not paying attention. The causation is that somebody swerved because the animal ran into the street. Those are the causations that occurred. Now, some people will go further and say, well, God caused the animal to run across the street, or a demon or a diamond caused the animal to run across the street. No, the animal ran across the street because it was going for food or water, for survival, because we encroached upon its territory. So the animal wasn't going across the street for that purpose. The person wasn't paying attention on the phone, wasn't paying attention while they was driving because they were on their phone, because they were breaking the law, because they have these tools now that keeps them connected to everyone all the time. And they just weren't paying attention because they was on their phone. This person drove that way because they were drunk. They went and they sat and they were depressed and they drank themselves into a stupor, and then they ran into you. Or they are just an alcoholic for whatever reason. Or they were just out partying and reveling and they decided to make the poor decision to go and drive drunk. Whatever their reasoning, they were the causation, not a diamond. But it's their inner diamond that allowed for them to have this misjudgment. So there is a cause and effect for everything. We can be, for the most part, 90% causation factors in our lives. There are some times where we are the effects. We feel the effects of what other people cause. When we're dealing with other people, when we live in a group society, we fall into the trap of being the effects of someone else's cause. It's something simple. If your local grocery store decides that they're going to shut down, well, you didn't cause them to shut down. They decided to shut it down. As the effect, you now have to drive to a different grocery store. Changes your pattern of behavior, changes how you live, when you go to the grocery store, at what times. It changes what roads you're driving on. It changes a lot of things into infinity, which now changes the course of your life ever so slightly, but it could be drastic if something happens because of that change. You didn't create that one, but you are the effect of it. But you can then take over and start to create your own life based on that new effect and become a causation factor again. So there are some causes, some effects, some causes that you don't have control over. But what we are saying is that in this law of correspondence and in the law of cause and effect, that nothing can affect you without your permission. you are the master over it. But when you have doubt about something, when you live in fear of life and live in fear of things, you are now allowing your inner daimon to fall towards the negative end of the scale. And when your daimon fall to the negative end of the scale, then other people's daimon can now have effect over you, can have causation over you. And you now allow them power over you. You now allow government power over you. You now allow anything and everything power over you, because you now live in fear. And you're living on the negative end of the scale. And your vibration pattern has gone low. So in order to change that, you have to keep your vibration pattern high. You have to keep a mindset of you are in control of your inner daimon, that you are the master over your universe, that whatever happens to you in life, you are the causation factor of it. But yet, if someone else is, you will then rearrange it so that you take over and you become the causal factor in your life and not be ruled by someone else's causation. And when you do that, you will seize the keys of power of how to magnify your life. And when you are in that state and your mentality gets to that state, at the point of cessation from this life, your thoughts will not be filled with, I might go to hell, I might come back as a dog, I might go to Sheol, I might go to Hades, I might go to limbo, I might go to purgatory, I might go. No, your mind is specific on exactly what happens after you leave this existence. I know exactly where I will end up after this existence. I know exactly. But that is for me to know and for you to find out for yourself. So y'all have a great day. Continue to support the channel on Patreon if you really like these videos. We want to continue to make them. Y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.